this session before. It's formal versus informal communication. So we've done it once before, and this is our second time doing it. Why are we doing this the second time? Is what everyone might be wondering. And the simple answer is because it is commonly mistaken. Like, people make this mistake constantly. And okay, people make mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes. But the only problem is when you're in a job or whenever you're in an internship, whatever it is, your mistake is going to cost you a lot. So that's why Alpha Board is so concerned, and we love our followers so much that we had to remind you guys why you need to make this important distinction between your formal and your informal communication.
Right. So the formal communication usually comes into play when you're talking to your colleagues or your bosses, and informal when you're talking to your friends and your family. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So this distinction needs to be made, and for a new English learner, it's difficult at first. We're learning this new language, how do I change the way I'm speaking with someone I'm around instantly? You could be in a situation where you're with two people, someone who you're very close to, but your boss. So how do you switch your tone? So I hope this session helps those, especially who struggle with the language today.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get this session started, because we're having our learners join in as and when we just begin with the session.
Yeah. So, all right. The first one that we're going to talk about is, you're going to help me with this, Ananya. The first one is, if you had to give me like bad news, right? And I'm your friend, and you had to give me some bad news. How would you say, how would you give me this bad news?
I think I'll just come to you and say, I just have to tell you something, and you probably like it, and then the news.
Yeah, and as a friend, I feel like if you say that to me, I'll just understand, okay, yeah, she's going to give me like really bad news, something's wrong. I can just tell with your facial expressions, right? But when you're in a formal setting, it's just simply like, it's not very personal. I think the best way to say, best way to describe the way you speak formally is just, it's not personal, but you need to have that respect, right, when you're speaking. So it would just simply be, I regret to inform you, or we regret to inform you that something like this has happened. And that's it. There's no personal feelings, emotions. There's nothing to it. It's just simply It's just simply that. Yeah. The next one. Yes. Tell me.
Most of the job rejection emails start with this, right? We regret to inform you, but
yeah, it's not only a job. It's like when you're in college also. Anything that's serious in your life that you're going to, and you get rejected or something like that happens, it's always, we regret to inform you, etc., etc. So yeah, those words are scarring for sure.
Yeah. So one of our learner even said, I think in the informal part, you can just say, we need to talk.
Yeah.
So that's up a precedence for, okay, we need to talk, this is wrong.
Yeah. Your boss can't come to you and say, we need to talk about this. Like, it's just, the tone is different.
Right.
Next one, let's go to email. Let's switch a little bit. We keep going on about how do you speak, but this point I thought had to be brought up at first, because writing a formal, in writing as well, you need to understand the distinction. So how do you start writing a formal email? That can be tricky. So in your past experience, how do you start an email, would you say?
I think having a bit of a nostalgia to school days.
Yeah.
Your formal and informal letter writing thing in the syllabus.
Yeah.
So if I have to write an email, I'll probably start, if I'm talking to a friend, but that would be an informal email. It would be like, the best of your health, and I just wanted to tell you. But I think if I'm talking to, somebody in a professional manner, say if I have to approach somebody for some work and they're completely new to me, so I'll just start by introducing myself, like, hi, I'm Ananya from Board Infinity, and we really liked your work and would like to talk to you about this, maybe.
Exactly. And like you said, informally, right? With our friends, we don't even send emails. I literally don't know
Not
any of my friends' email addresses. We just like text them or like DM them. Yeah, formally, we would say something like, I'm writing you this email, or good evening, how are you today? I hope you're fine. And then you would get into it. But with a friend, do you really care how they're doing? You just say, what's up? Yeah, so we're going to do this today.
yeah.
So that's the difference when you're writing formally and informally. Now another instance would be, okay, so let me just set the scene here. Let's say we're at a get together, all right, and me and you were friends, and I want, yeah, love a get togethers. Haven't had one in a very long time, but yeah. Okay, me and you are at a get together, and I'm introducing you to one of my friends. I say,
Okay.
hey, this is Ananya. I work with her. You should meet her, whatever. So, how would you say hi to this friend, this new person that you're meeting?
Is it like informal setting or
It's an informal. It's completely, she's my friend. You don't
okay.
need to be formal. It's a casual thing. So, what would you say?
Hi, Ananya, nice to meet you. And
Yeah,
then the person will introduce themselves.
themselves. Just like, hi, yeah, how are you? What's up? Like that. Informally, let's say I take you to a executive dinner party, and I'm going to introduce you to the president of Board Infinity. All right, and I'm like, Ananya, this is the president of the company. Um, I would like you to meet this person. I mean, like, first thing that we would say is, it's such a pleasure to meet you, sir, or good evening, sir, how are you? Or like, I've seen your work and I'm so amazed by, it's so much more formal when you're meeting someone of a higher authority, because you need to make a good impression. So there would be a difference if you're meeting someone at your level of executive. Like, for example, if you met someone at your level, someone who's the same employee as you, you'd be, yeah, nice to meet you, But when it's a higher authority, it's a different tone altogether. You're more of in awe when you're talking to this person. So it's like, you could say it's like double the formality when you're talking to them, right? So we should keep that in mind. How do you distinguish formally with a colleague and with an executive, which is much like a boss to you? That's also very important, don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. Another thing that I felt that we should talk about today is online, when we're on Zoom calls and we're on video calls. How do we turn on that formal? Like, how are we supposed to talk to people formally? So I would suggest, just how you talk to a person in person, just try to talk to them formally. But like, for example, let's say someone has a network issue, or someone has a issue like that. How do we address it? Right? So I would say, be very respectful. And for example, if you were having a network issue, just say, oh, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am. I think there is a slight network issue that you're going through. Network issue could be very bad. You could not be understanding anything she's saying, but we need to use the word slight. We need to use those phrases that make you seem non-aggressive in any way, shape, or form.
So
Right?
we are polite and respectful at the same time, even though
Yeah.
we cannot see or hear the other person.
Exactly. You need to be respectful even though you don't know what's happening. So that can be tricky. So if you guys have any questions, just remember you can ask us. Last session, we had so many, I couldn't even get to my points. So any questions, please put it down and me and Ananya are here to answer. Okay. Yeah. So next one is a little formal. Let's say I am instructing you to go to a place, and I'm telling you, okay, when you get there, informally, I would say, when you get there, you're supposed to do this, this, this. Formally, how would you say that? Because I feel like formally, there's a trick to saying something like when you get there or something like that.
I think you can say, like upon your arrival there, you can do this.
Yeah, you can say upon your arrival, I think there's only one form to say it formally. I don't think there's a lot of ways, because do you ever find yourself in a formal situation and you feel like you're being informal? Like, does that happen? It happens to me a lot. I'm in a formal situation, but I don't know, because it's like something I want to say I've said to other people. Do you know what I'm saying? In a casual tone. But
Right,
then
right.
how do we convert that to formal? So if you had to say, as soon as you get there to your colleague, your boss, I would suggest saying, upon your arrival, you do this, this, this. Right? Yeah. So that's very important as well. Another one which is similar to this is, let's say, okay, Ananya, now you say it to me. Let's say you had to tell me to do something very fast, and you need it immediately. Informally, you would just say, just do this as soon as you can, just finish this, like, just get it done. But formally, you can't say, finish it, do that, do this. You can't have that tone that you're like demanding something. So what would you say?
So when I have to, talk to my colleagues, what I usually say is, whenever you get the time, whenever you're free, and
Yeah.
I think if you're to put it in a, more formal setting, you can say, at your earliest convenience or something like
Yeah.
that.
I think that's most appropriate when you say, yeah, at your earliest convenience, you can get that done. But guys, always remember, when someone says at your earliest convenience, take that as a hint, as they don't mean at your earliest convenience. They mean get it done now. So
Right,
we
right.
need, that distinction, yeah, needs to be made. We have lots of comments by our followers. Guys, if you have any questions, we are here to answer.
There's just a brief session. I think that's good. But again, if you have any questions or queries, you can, ask us right now, because it's all in real time. You get your answers right away. So feel free to drop us, a comment, and we'll answer your queries.
Yeah. Just to give a little bit of insight about what Alpha Board does, what we do essentially is we will first take a demo. If you're interested in learning English, not the textbook way, but we have a very modern approach to teaching. We don't only teach you textbook English, we teach you communication. There is a distinction between just English and English communication. We teach you grammar, and we also teach you how to talk in everyday life, how to present, how to make presentations, interviews. So we prep you for those things. So first we start you off with a demo session. We understand what kind of a learner you are, and then you can enroll yourself in the course. So just DM us. Even if you comment on our post, we will DM you. So any form of communication is good. Okay, I think we have a question.
The question is, I have 57% in 12th. Is it a problem for me to get placement? So I think if you have any problem related to, the fact that you are not maybe getting your dream college or something like that, that's completely okay, because there are many colleges which are going to be really happy to take. And when it comes to placement, the placement cells for many colleges are really nice. And, you can always join, companies like ours, because we at Board Infinity, we have like a full-fledged placement drive as well. So, regardless of your marks in 12th or in college, in that placement drives, companies come to you to actually see the work that you've done while studying with us, because the projects that you do and everything else, um, you're doing a course in BTech. So if you're looking for a course in maybe data science, you can definitely enroll with us, and our mentors are there to teach you, and they guide you to the best of their possibilities. So I think that took a detour from our session, but I wanted to
It's okay.
get.
We're
You can
here to
also,
answer, yeah, whatever
yeah,
we can.
but
Yeah.
DM, and whenever you have any problems, our team is just going to contact you and solve all your queries.
Yeah. So getting back to the session, next one would be, informally, if I said to you, you invited me somewhere and I said, sorry, I can't make it. You understand what that means, that I apologize, like I can't come to this thing that you're calling me for. Formally, what would you say? If you were invited to something and you can't come, what would you say?
Mm, I think we can, what we learned earlier in the set, we can use that and just say, I regret to inform you that I cannot make it to this particular event or
Yeah.
something like that.
Same thing. Just whenever it's just like how you apologize. Like, I regret, I'm sorry for this, but yeah, I regret to inform you that I can't, come to this event. Usually, when you're like a colleague or you're like an employee that's a little bit lower in the authoritative structure, if that makes sense, you kind of have to give a reason. Okay. You're expected a reason for why you aren't coming. But the thing between formal and informal is you don't have to be very apologetic that you're not coming. But informally, if you're missing a birthday party, an important date, whatever it is, you need to apologize, sorry, and you have to give a very detailed answer because it's your friends, your family. They have the right to know why you aren't showing up somewhere. But when you're in a place of work, an appropriate reason is good enough. They're not going to question you a lot. So yeah,
Right.
I think they're seeing a little bit more contact
Uh,
information.
you can, just drop us your contact information or your email ID, and our team will definitely, get back to you with all the solutions to your queries. So don't, hesitate and
Yeah.
drop us.
Yeah, just DM us. Just personally DM the account and the team will get to you instantly. For sure. Okay. All right. So the next one would be yeah. So let's say that we are in a situation where this happens a lot in work. You're doing a project, whatever it is, and you need to make sure that you are being informed of what is happening. The way that you would say it informally would be, yeah, just, like keep me in the loop. Like just tell me, whatever it is. It could be just tell me later, make sure you tell me, call me and tell me. If you're in a project with a group of like 5 employees, or you're working with your boss and both of you guys are working on a project together, you can't say, yeah, keep me in the loop, or yeah, just call me and tell me the details. So what would you say? Like, what do you think you would say in a situation like this?
I think I'll just say that, I would really appreciate it if you can, keep me informed about the developments in the project or
In
whatever
your
that.
projects, etc. And the way I would reply to you could be like, of course, sure, will do, or something like that. But if your friend says to you, yeah, keep me in the loop, I just say, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. But again, the way you respond also has to be very formal, etc. Now, one thing that people constantly ask is, how do we like distinguish between, how do we know who to talk to, like formally or informally? How can we tell? So I would say that the basic answer would be, in an office, in a school, in an internship, speak formally. But you need to understand that in these schools, in these offices, whatever it is, you might have an informal relationship. Colleagues can turn to friends. So I would say, whatever you think the tone of your relationship is, like, I feel like some people that I work with, I can talk to informally, but some people, I feel like we just have, it's just a formal basis. So that's very important. How do you form these informal relationships? I would say, if you are looking for friendships at work, I would say you bring up the topic of something that's a little personal. I would suggest talking about your hobbies. A lot of people in executive levels, they become friends over golf. A lot of colleagues just golf together and then they become like the bestest of friends. So,
Right.
yeah. So if you want to have that conversion, because I know a lot of people look for that conversion at work and they can't find one, and for that reason they feel a little bit loneliness at work, which is
Right.
completely normal. Obviously, with COVID, it's not very common because we're not actually physically going to work. But I think that's also very important when you're in these settings. So yeah, that was to answer that question. The next one we would talk about is um, when you're sending a reminder, also something that we do very much formally. Ananya, if you were to send me a reminder, what would you say to me?
In a formal
Formally.
setting.
Formally.
So I think I would say that I would like to remind you that, and then continue the sentence
Yeah.
that.
or
submit.
just continue the sentence, or you would just say just a reminder, or just something like that. But informally, I would just say, dude, don't forget, like, you can't forget this, like this,
Yeah.
remember this, you know what I mean? It's a little more intense. Because especially when we're sending things, sending reminders, they tend to be important, you know, like something that needs to be kept in mind. So when you have that informal friendship with someone or relationship, you're going to be like, just don't forget this, don't forget this at all, at any, like, no cost you can forget this. So yeah, that's also very important, guys. When you're in that formal setting, you need to have, you know, that language with your colleagues, with your boss, whatever. Now for the last one, um is to find out if someone is free or not. So this is kind of tricky in the sense that how how do you, so you're working with someone, why do you need to find out if they are free or not, right? It's obviously mainly for events that they're not used to, events that are out of their schedule. Because if I said to you, we're working, and I say, are you available on Tuesday? Of course you're available, you're working, like, we're in a job, you have to be available. So this is for situations where we aren't we aren't used to these situations. How do we formally ask someone if they're available for something that is non-work related? So what would you say to me if
Non
we were, yeah,
enough.
non-work related, but in a formal way? Yeah.
uh, I would just, drop you a text. Would you be available on Saturday to,
Yeah.
catch a
Yeah.
meeting like that?
Or something like that. Would you be available to catch some coffee? Also would be fine, but you need to say it formally, to discuss a project, whatever it is. So would you be available? But if you were my friend, I would just say, come, let's go, let's go, let's just go together.
Right.
You know. So yeah, that is the distinction between these two. Yeah.
And I think that's really important to know where to talk to someone in a professional manner, and where to talk to them in an open chill manner, because that is where you're going to be distinguished as somebody who's a working professional and as somebody who isn't that respectful of his or her co-workers, right?
Yeah. And a lot of people who aren't formal, they tend to be informal. They, in the eyes of other people, they seem like they're overstepping their boundaries.
Right.
Because formally, right, there are people who come from different cultures and religions and all of that, and their behavior is determined by the culture they're from. So there could be someone from a different culture and they might be a very loud personality and, you know, very casual, and all they want to do is make a comfortable setting for people. But there could be someone who is uncomfortable by that. They don't
Right.
want that at a workplace. So you need to understand, like, these cues on when someone's uncomfortable by the way you're communicating. So switch on to that formal role. Another question that people ask is, how do we learn as a new English learner? How do we learn? TV shows, I say this all the time. TV shows, movies that are in English. For TV shows, I suggest pick a genre that you like. You like comedy, watch comedy shows. Or else, if someone like me watches, I don't even know, like sci-fi or something, obviously I'm going to be lost. So always pick a genre you like. Keep your subtitles on, and every phrase and every tone, try to understand it, try to mimic it, and that's the way we learn a new language. So
I think,
yeah,
and that's more fun to learn because
it's a very fun.
watching which is engaging and entertaining, but at the same
Yeah,
time, is really great.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
All right, and I think we didn't have many questions today because
We
again,
didn't. Yeah.
our session was quite to the point, because there aren't that many variations that you can choose, especially when talking in a formal way. Because when you're
Okay.
talking in, you can talk in a lot of different ways. You can even
Exactly.
use
Yeah.
whatever depending upon the relationship with the other
And I
person.
think from the previous session also, our followers have learned so much. No questions to ask.
But I think questions, then it's even difficult to keep a tab on the question.
I
Like, okay,
swear.
this, that. Okay,
Oh,
I think we have question. Oh, we have our regular follower as well. So the first question is it normal to apply makeups in colleges at work? School students are what? I think maybe there's also a distinction between being formal and informal in college.
Yeah.
So I think if I am to personally give an advice on this, I would say it's super cool to do that because you know, makeup is something that people apply. It's fun, but again, don't go over the top with it because you know you're not going to a specific event like a family function or something like that. You know, like an eyeliner, a lipstick, something like that. That could be you know that could be formal as well as informal because that's not something that is setting you apart from the crowd, and that is something that is giving you more confidence as a student too. So that
Mm-hmm.
is that.
Yeah. As a student, I would like to say that, yeah, I think you can wear, it depends on your college or university, what laws, what rules they have. I think makeup is something that makes us comfortable. I love makeup. I have makeup on right now. At work, I think makeup is fine. But every office, correct me if I'm wrong, they have norms for makeup as well. Like you can't show up, even hairstyles, hair color, there's a restriction in offices. So whatever you're allowed to do, do that. If they say go crazy. I suggest do whatever you like. So yeah.
I think as long as it's not too much and too loud, right?
Too dramatic, that's going to be like distracting for other people, I guess it's
Right.
completely
And
fine.
even if we don't too much of makeup right now during a live session, everybody is going to be like, "अच्छा इतना ज़्यादा makeup क्यों है?"
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But I think we took a detour from our side.
It's okay.
Um,
If it's makeup, I'll talk about it. Yeah.
so the ones who have joined us right now, today we talked about formal and informal phrases yet again. We had already done a session on this before, but given that the topic is something that you know everybody should know and everybody applies to their real life, we thought we'll come up with some more examples for you. So that was what it was all about. And you know, once the video is posted on IGTV, you just have a look and learn something new. So I think there are no questions, coach. So maybe we can wind up this session today,
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
So I think before ending it up, I'm just going to remind everybody watching right now, go follow Alpha
Alpha
Board.
board.
And if you found this session to be, you know, extremely useful, the sessions that we come up with every other day are going to be really helpful for you too. So, you know, while if you follow us, then you're going to be updated with everything, and it's going to be a fun learning experience for you. So, you know, don't hesitate, go follow us right now. And
Yeah.
I'm going to thank you, coach, for this amazing session because
Thank you
I know
so much.
so
Yeah.
many new things. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep in mind while writing an email, especially to you know different people. So if I have to draft an email to the CEO, I'll go like okay formal. But if I
Yeah.
am to you know drop a WhatsApp text to a friend, I'll be like okay, I can talk to
Inform.
him.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys soon. Bye, everybody. Bye, Ananya.